Derrick White, I have no problem with him getting the call. I have questions, which we'll get to. But Derrick White, my theory is this, of why he was picked over some others. It's not just Jaylen Brown. There's some other people who could have got this call. My theory on Derrick White is simple. Obviously, he's a winner. Obviously, a champion. He's been a role player for tons of winning teams. But I also think that some of it is he's not ball dominant, A. He's also going to get along with and get in with all these guys. There's not going to be team chemistry issues. He's not going to show up with a chip on his shoulder thinking, well, I should have been here anyways. Why did Kawhi have to get hurt for you to give me a call? Some guys could show up with that kind of attitude, make it all about me, me, me. That is not Derrick White. And I also think this team's so damn good, and some of those teams you mentioned are true contenders against Team USA.
Oh, yeah.
But some of these other teams are going to get their ass kicked by Team USA.
Yeah.
And so I say that to say there are so many stars on this team, playing time could be an issue. So why would you want to bring a star in who may not play a ton of minutes, and then you're going to hear the complaints? Whereas a Derrick White, if he plays a ton of minutes, you know he's communal. He's all about the team. He'll let the game come to him. He'll make the right basketball play. So from a basketball standpoint, it makes sense. But also, if he doesn't play much, he's not going to rock the boat. He's not going to cause any issues. There's not going to be any soundbite that now all of a sudden Steve Kerr and that coaching staff has to address because Derrick White said, well, I mean, I can only play when I'm in the game. You know, he's not going to do any of that. He's just going to kind of play his role, and that's some of my theory of why he was chosen. Is that unfair of me to think?
For Jaylen Brown's side, yes.
Okay.
Because what did he do all season? You even brought up he's not going to ball hog. I mean, the whole system the Celtics run is catch it, know your next
Let
move.
the game
Don't
come to
beat
you.
it down in.
That's right.
Search for those good shots. Yours will come around.
Yeah.
And for Jaylen Brown, we could say whatever the dynamic is and how he's gone out of his way since they won the finals. And he was named MVP to mention Tatum every time. I couldn't do it without him.
That's
my brother,
right.
all this, the path they went through. But you never heard, and we would have heard it anyway, if stuff came out about Jaylen being a guy that's egotistical in the Celtics locker room while they're going on this title run, and that never happened. In a way, the selflessness that he showed in this finals run, and ever since he got that max extension, becoming the best defender on the team, there's Drew Holiday too, but him being the best defender, doing whatever it takes for the team to win. It wasn't a ton of shots, but all-around game from him. This was a guy that shot very poorly from three in the Eastern Conference and Finals, still won MVP of both, and was their best, most consistent player all throughout. And even put out the tweet with like that monocle emoji of thinking like, what happened here? So before we get into what that tweet can be, when Kawhi went down and the replacement was Derrick White, I go, when you lose Kawhi, you lose size, physicality, defense, high IQ.
Oh, yeah.
What you get with Derrick White, you don't get the same size. He's only 6'4".
Right.
You get physicality,
you get
strength,
defense.
You get really good defense, and you still get high IQ basketball, smart with taking shots, and a really good shooter, right? But when you think of, all right, so you got 4 out of those 5 boxes checked by D. White. Jaylen Brown checks 5 out of the 5.
Yeah, he does.
Whatever it is. Literally size and can defend.
Yeah.
It brings more versatility to your lineups on both ends. I think Jaylen Brown, if you replace Kawhi Leonard with Jaylen Brown, this team's better than it was before.
Sure.
And Jaylen Brown was named one of the finalists. Keep in mind, Grant Hill is the guy that names his team, decides who's on it. He was one of the finalists, along with much lesser names.
Is there something there? Grant Hill and Jaylen Brown?
There has to be some politics in this. I wonder, what was the courtesy played? Was it Kawhi goes down, you make a quick phone call? Is it literally, I don't know how it goes. Do you call Jaylen Brown? Doesn't pick up. All right, call Derrick White. But you don't give Jaylen Brown that courtesy of returning the call. And Jaylen Brown, I don't know where he's at this moment or when it went down.
I think he's overseas.
He was in the Middle East. Yeah, he was going to Mecca, him and Taco Fall.
Yeah.
He was in the Middle East. So that time difference, Vegas is 3 hours behind Boston.
Yeah.
The Middle East, depending where he is, 7 to 8 hours ahead. An 11-hour difference with phone calls and all that. I just wonder, what is that courtesy that you pay to the Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, the second, arguably the best player on one of the best teams in NBA history. It's not a Celtics thing because Drew and Jason Tatum are already on it.
Right.
And that's what I wonder too. when it comes to the dynamics, who's calling the shots? Who is it? I think it's LeBron. I think it's KD. I think Kevin Durant would get along, would want to play with Jaylen Brown. But you also understand, then it goes into the dynamic. Bringing Derrick White, he'll play the role. Because that's what I wonder. What was Kawhi's role? It's not Kawhi of the old. How many minutes was he going to play?
Right.
And this comes into you, so I'm coming around to you. Derrick White would come in, let's say play 12, 15 minutes a game. Do the assignments Kawhi would. He's a smaller defender, but do that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Take 3, 4, 6 shots a game, whatever.
Get out of there.
And he'd be fine with it.
That's what I
While
think.
Jaylen Brown's like, I'm coming all the way to Vegas. I'm going all the way to Abu Dhabi, and I'm going to spend all this time in Paris, and I'm only playing these many minutes. Maybe because of his stature and what he's earned. And if he had those complaints, I'd be like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Be one of the best players on this team. So maybe there's a dynamic, a power dynamic, and politics that comes into it. I just wonder what the process is of replacing. Was it Grant Hill that made the call? Does he consult, and I believe he does, with LeBron, with KD,
I would think
with
so.
Steph?
And by the way, this wasn't I don't think this was a decision that had to be made with haste. Although I do agree with what you said.
They're playing
Team
Canada
USA
tonight.
wasn't messing around with this. Let's get ahead of this and make a change. But I don't think this was a Kawhi goes down in practice. Oh snap!
No.
What do we do? There was clearly some conversations that were being had behind the scenes about if Kawhi was even going to do this. Again, just speculating. I'm sure the Clippers were involved in some of these conversations. So I'm guessing Grant Hill and the Brain Trust had a runway in terms of making this decision. By the way, the Jaylen Brown tweet that you referenced, we have it here. After the Derrick White news was announced, here's the emojis. I mean, I don't know. I'll say this. You know, you and I sound like we're in lockstep for Derrick White being the kind of get in where you fit in guy. He's going to go with the flow. He's not going to rock the boat. But with that being said, I mean, you go up and down this roster, George. Just the optics. Stay with me here. Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Booker, Steph Curry, AD, Anthony Edwards, KD, Tyrese Halliburton, Joel Embiid, Bam, LeBron. These are stars. Derrick White. But then when you say all these names, you know, Book, Steph, AD, all of them, and Jaylen Brown, you're like, okay. So that, that part sort of rubs me the wrong way too. If you're going to do this, why not send Cooper Flag at this point? I'm just saying, like, it's not, if it's not about a star and it's just coming in to fill a role, go get the kid. Let him get some experience.
Or get someone young like Paolo Banchero.
Or get Paolo Banchero, who could also play defense. By the way, Paolo was a finalist. I heard Jimmy Butler.
Derrick
and then
White,
smaller guys. Brunson. Now you're talking,
but now let's get into basketball.
Kyrie.
Derrick White, vastly better shooter than Kyrie, Jimmy Butler, and Paolo Banchero.
Sure.
Better defender. Kyrie should not be on this roster because you have to replace defense and strength, and you can't get that with Kyrie. Now, if they brought in a guy like Trae Young, then you're really messing with the whole core.
I would rather
the
have a
chemistry.
bigger body.
Because Trae Young will come in and go, I'm going to get my 20 shots up a game. I don't care.
I'm with
that
you.
Wouldn't work.
I'm in the Paolo, Butler, Jaylen Brown. And Derrick White.
I don't care. Homerism in this, I don't care. To me, it was Derrick White, good fit. My mind automatically went to why not Jaylen Brown?
Yeah.
You're listing these names, and I get it. These are finalists from the team and stuff. Derrick White is a better fit than a Trae Young or Kyrie Irving, what he brings on both ends of the floor. Jalen Brunson, I am the biggest Jalen Brunson fan. Absolute dog, small guard.
And ball dominant.
You need defense to come in.
Yep.
Paul George, I could see. Because this is a new Paul George.
Yeah.
But again, if you're talking about health, he just played 74 games. That's a career high in the last 5 years.
Right.
Stay away from that. What are you going to bring in? James Harden? Duncan Robinson?
Hell no.
Bobby Portis? Chet?
No.
The ones I would fly with would be, if it wasn't Derrick White, I think it should have been Jaylen Brown. But if it's not Jaylen Brown, it's Derrick White. I just can't wait to hear the details of how it went down. Because that's what's fascinating to me.
Will we, though? Will we hear the details?
I think so.
You think?
It will. Jaylen Brown doesn't mess around, man. Like, he won't tweet out something, state your source. It's Stephen A. He listens.
Well, that's what I mean.
He's smart.
That's why
and he knows the weight that stuff carries.
My theory is they went with Derrick White because he's less of a headache. And I think it's a direct shot at Jaylen Brown. And that's why you got that tweet.
It's just
because Jaylen Brown knows it. I don't think he is.
But it's a lot of alphas.
Yes.
And Kawhi to that, He's an alpha on the court, behind closed doors, whatever type of leader he is, and demands a ball.
Quiet.
Yeah.
He's almost too quiet.
Yeah.
Right?
Where Jalen's a bigger personality.
That's right.
More of a mother effer, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like more of the dog wants a ball. And I think Derrick White falls into line with the Kawhi personality.
Completely agree.